Good morning to all of you. Can you hear?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Good morning,
Let-
sir.
Okay, let's begin our class. Today, I will briefly discuss the role of NABARD in rural credit. You see, there are in rural credit, you have to study 4 parts. Number 1, what are the sources of rural credit in India, which we have done it. Number 2, the role of cooperative credit societies or cooperative sector in rural credit. Third, role of commercial banks in rural credit. And fourth, role of regional rural banks in rural credit. And the fifth, which is also very important, is what is the role of NABARD in rural credit. Now, as you know, the three important institutional credit lending agencies in India are cooperative sector, commercial banks, and regional rural bank. NABARD is also involved in one way or another, but NABARD is a different kind of bank. It is a refinancing bank, and NABARD plays the most important and crucial role in providing rural credit through institutions, governmental institutions, to the agriculture and rural areas for the development of an agriculture and rural development, you can say. When we gained independence in the 1950s, Reserve Bank of India has the responsibility to provide rural credit through institutions. As we progressed, we know that banks were nationalized, regional rural banks were open, cooperative sector, which was there even before independence, they also expanded. Now, Reserve Bank of India has to perform, I have already discussed these things and told you, certain other important functions. Basically, Reserve Bank of India role is to provide a monetary policy to the country. Here, they have 3 important functions, basic functions. That is to control the inflation rate in the country. That is, the prices of commodities should not rise too high and it should not dip too low also. So control of inflation is an important function of Reserve Bank of India. Second, Reserve Bank of India keep an eye on the interest rate. Interest rate is also very important from the point of view of investment in the economy. So interest rate should not also rise very high and it should not also be too low. It has to range between a band. That is the function which Reserve Bank of India has to do. Third function is that Reserve Bank of India sees that the balance of payment of the country is smooth and balanced. The country does not default in payment of its dues to foreign countries for buying foreign goods. So that is also a role of the Reserve Bank of India. But basically, every quarter, every 3 months, the Reserve Bank of India comes out with a monetary policy to provide stability and growth to the economy. It gives a direction. Now it was felt that Reserve Bank of India, which was given the responsibility to overlook rural credit in the country, it was too much for Reserve Bank of India. It could not focus only on this aspect, that is providing rural credit. So in 1982, in recommendation of 1981 by a committee, in 1982, another autonomous body, which is, you can say, a part of Reserve Bank of India, was established, that is, which was named as NABARD, National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development. Now we will see what is the functions of NABARD. There are other things also. Tomorrow I will give you a PowerPoint presentation. I will upload it. If you give any number, I will upload any WhatsApp number, I will upload on that so that you may share it. But today I will briefly discuss NABARD. So NABARD is the apex bank for rural credit in India. Apex means the highest bank, the bank at the top. It provides rural credit directly, to some extent, and indirectly. Mostly it provides rural credit indirectly, and this indirect provision of rural credit through certain institutions like cooperative sector, commercial banks, state government, regional rural banks, is known as refinancing. So the client, the borrowers, are not in direct touch with NABARD. There is a via medium, that is these institutions. Now, if every year the government estimate that the country, the rural sector, the agriculture sector, they need a certain amount of money for smooth functioning, and it is the duty of the Reserve Bank of India, mandate of the Reserve Bank of India, to provide rural credit through the network of governmental institutions. So NABARD is at the top. If there is a shortage of fund and if there is a need of fund in any state, in any area, not only for agriculture development but also for rural development, then NABARD comes and plays its role. So let us see what are the functions of NABARD. The first function which I was discussing is about providing rural credit. Now, rural credit is provided in agriculture for short term for a very important task, which is known as seasonal agricultural operations. SAO, seasonal agricultural operation. What is seasonal agricultural operations? When the crop season starts or begins, for example, right now in the month of April, you will find that the Rabi crop has almost finished and harvesting is going on. Now, maybe there are certain farmers who need money for harvesting. Now, harvesting is done through machines. That is, we have got a harvester which costs money. Maybe the small farmers and the marginal farmers or any other farmer, they do not have enough capital or money for harvesting, so they may borrow money. This is known as seasonal agricultural operations. Maybe after harvesting they need to transport their produce to the market. For that also they need money. They may get it short-term credit from the institutions, and for this NABARD provide enough funds for seasonal agricultural operations. Now, in the month of June or July, after 2 months, when monsoon will arrive, then the Kharif season starts and rice or paddy will be sown. For sowing of paddy, the farmers need money for seed, for paddy plants, for after some time for irrigation, for fertilizer, for pesticides. So these are the seasonal agricultural operations where the farmers are provided credit whenever they need it. It is a short-term credit, and the credit is provided through state cooperative banks, and long-term credit can also be provided through state cooperative banks, regional rural banks, and government. So NABARD will provide them money to these institutions, and they will further provide credit to the farmers wherever there is need. So this is the first function of NABARD, that is credit is extended by NABARD. Second function is rural infrastructure development. The Government of India in 1995-96 established a fund known as Rural Infrastructure Development Fund. In short, we call it RIDF, Rural Infrastructure Development Fund. Now, cooperative rural infrastructure projects can be many things for rural development. For example, building of roads, link roads in villages. Example, if some godown is to be constructed, it can be provided. Some project which the government starts, it can be financed by NABARD through RIDF, that is Rural Infrastructure Development Fund. Now in 1995-96, the annual money which was earmarked, or annual allocation of fund was 2,000 rupees crore. By 2012-13, this 2,000 allocation of 2,000 crore was increased to 20,000 crores. Till 2015-16, the total money through Rural Infrastructure Development Fund which has been allocated was 1,72,500 crores. 1,72,500 crores till 2015-16. That is from 1995 to 1996. In around 20 years, in 2015-16, the total fund allocated was 1,72,500 crores. You see, there is a program of Bharat Nirmal program, that is construction for rural road. It is to be provided by through Rural Infrastructure Development Fund. In 2015-16, for that year, 25,000 crores was allocated for Rural Infrastructure Development Fund. Now, if you visit countryside, that is, if you visit villages, most of you or few of you, I do not know, maybe they have got houses in villages, and you must have observed that in the last 15 to 20 years, almost all the villages in the country have been connected with roads. So connectivity has been expanded very fast. Now villages are connected with the urban areas. So there is a lot of mobility. The mobility is easy, it is very smooth, and it has advantages, and of course it has certain disadvantages, but we will talk about advantages. For example, any produce vegetables which were produced in villages at one time was not sold in far off markets. It could not reach urban areas. Now the case is different. Milk is supplied, almost entire milk is supplied from the villages to the urban areas. So there are so many things which have improved the rural areas, that is rural development has taken place, and a pivotal role has been played by NABARD through Rural Infrastructure Development Fund. Then the other function, the third function is microfinance innovations. That is around 25,000 rupees are given for self-employment. Now, what is microfinance? Micro means small, finance means to provide money. This microfinance, which is connected with Grameen Bank, is a concept which has been developed 30-40 years ago in our neighboring country. Try to understand, I'll tell you the background, if I have not told you before, that in Bangladesh, we have a neighboring country known as Bangladesh, which got independence in 1971. It was party. Yes?
Sir,
Somebody
somewhere your
else.
voice is not coming. Yes, sir.
My voice is not coming?
Yes, sir. Somewhere.
जी
Somewhere, sir. Somewhere.
सुन रही हो?
Yes, sir. Now it's coming.
Okay. Why it was not coming, I do not know. And
No, sir. Everything is clear.
Okay. You see, I was talking about Bangladesh. Today you see Bangladesh is doing much better in economic terms than India also. We have been reading in the last 3-4 years the index of Bangladesh in Human Development Index, Hunger Index, Happiness Index, Malnutrition Index are better than India. That is not the thing which we are going to discuss. We are talking about microfinance. You see, the banks usually lend money, give credit only to a person who has a clean image. It so happened in Bangladesh that there was a person who was arrested by the police for a small theft. He was a rickshaw puller before he was arrested. When he got out after serving his sentence in jail, when he came out, he again wanted to pull a rickshaw for his livelihood. But no bank, no one was ready to provide him money because now he was blacklisted as he has been to jail. So there was a teacher who was teaching in a university or a college whose name was Muhammad Yunus. He came upon that person and that person said that he could not get credit because he has been charged in a theft case. So Muhammad Yunus gave a thought and he said, okay, I will lend you money. And when you earn money, enough money, you return my money. He lent the money to the so-called ex-convict rickshaw puller, and that rickshaw puller, in a short duration, he returned the money after earning. So this concept of microfinance came into being, that in the neighborhood, in the surrounding, one can lend money even to a person who does not have any security to mortgage with the bank, or he does not have any guarantee. And gradually, he started Grameen Bank, banks in the villages, and it became very popular and it expanded too much. So much so, this concept was so much appreciated in the world that Muhammad Yunus got Nobel Prize for this act. So India also adopted this Grameen Bank concept, and NABARD tried to help it. Now, what happened, that there are several thousands and thousands of non-government organizations, that is NGOs, working in the rural areas. They coordinated with the lending agencies, that is cooperative sector or commercial banks or regional rural banks, and helped people to get credit for self-employment. Then at the same time, in most of the villages, in certain states, they tried to build a society which is known as self-help group. Mostly this self-help group was focused on women. Say in a village, 10 to 12 or 10, more than 10 women formed a group. And this group, as we studied in primary agricultural credit societies, they collected certain amount of money. For example, every woman who joined this group, they paid 1,000 rupees each. And if there were 20 women, then 20,000, they had a corpus fund of 20,000. Now, if anyone among this 20% needed any financial help, they could lend, they could borrow from this 20,000, and the rate of interest could be decided mutually, or even they could be given without charging any rate of interest, because the decision was the specific self-help groups which they had formed. Now what NABARD did, if the 20-member self-help group wanted to carry on some big project which say required a capital of 1 lakh rupees, then through the mediation of NGOs, the NABARD used to lend them say 1 lakh rupees for that project, and the NABARD used to monitor. In this way, self-help group started doing certain work which would provide them income and would support their livelihood. So this was the beginning of microfinance in India, and very soon it picked up very fast. Most of in the southern states, for example, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, this microfinance concept picked up, and the amount of transactions, the amount of lending which was going was in lakhs of crores. When too much money is involved, there are certain problems, but we are not going to go into that problem. But there was a linkage between self-help group and NABARD. So NABARD and bank linkages took place. Gradually from 1980 onwards, if you are aware that there was certain changes in banking sector. Technology was introduced in banks in different ways. Now one need not go to a branch to make a payment. One need not go to a branch to deposit money. Many things could be done online. This is known as core banking services. Now, if you have suppose if you are living in Uttar Pradesh and you have an account in a bank, say State Bank of India, and you happen to shift to Jharkhand, and now you need to operate your account, then you can operate that account in the State Bank of that Jharkhand state. This is core banking services which has been digitalized, and banking has become much simpler. Though digitalization or online banking is always infected with certain dangers, there is a risk, but we are not bothered about that. What we are bothered that NABARD helped in expansion of microfinance, and there were various innovations which are taking place in microfinance area. So through self-help group, many activities, many income generating activities are taking place, and people are self-employed. So the problem of unemployment, the problem of low income was or are being tackled with the help of NABARD through providing easy credit to the group which other function of NABARD is NABARD provided Kisan Credit Card. In 1998-99, commercial banks, cooperative banks, regional rural banks, they all started providing Kisan Credit Card. NABARD has accelerated the pace of issue of Kisan Credit Card. What is Kisan Credit Card? It is a kind of debit card or credit card. You all are aware of debit card and credit card. Today we use debit and credit card. Now, for example, a Kisan, a farmer, he is given a card and there are 5,000 rupees in the account. Now the farmer can pay for fertilizer, for seed, for any other expense through the credit card, and his account is maintained in the bank. If he exhausts or if he repays the credit, then he has already been issued a passbook, and this Kisan credit card is nothing but like the debit and credit card which are linked to our account and which we are using. In this way, the farmers do not have to run to the branch every other day to get a loan or to repay the loan. And he gets all the messages how much money is in his account and how much has been debited and how much has been credited and through what scheme he has got money in his account on mobile. So by using mobile, by using credit card, the farmers, they easily get access to credit, and this is being monitored and the progress, the pace is being accelerated by NABARD. So NABARD is all the time, NABARD is very active in these activities of providing for agriculture and rural development. In 2010, there was 24.3 million credit card which was issued in 2010. And by 2016, it increased to 46.4 million. So in almost 6 years, the credit card, issuing of credit card, the use of credit card has been doubled. Then another function of NABARD is for credit monitoring arrangements. When NABARD provides credit to cooperative banks or to commercial banks, or regional rural banks, they keep on monitoring it, whether the money which they have given to them has been forwarded or advanced to the farmers or the needy in the rural areas of rural projects, and what progress has been made, whether the money which the farmers has taken from the lending agencies are utilized for productive purposes or they are utilized for consumption purposes. A constant monitoring is done by the NABARD. So this is also a function of NABARD. Then another function of NABARD is there is a program which is run by the government of India which is known as Swarn Jayanti Swarojgar Yojana, SGSY. Now Swarn Jayanti Swarojgar Yojana is refinanced by NABARD. What is this SGSY? Tomorrow or day after tomorrow, when I will take the topic of rural unemployment and its solutions in India, I will discuss it in detail, but here I'll just let you know the background that in 1970s, on 2nd October 1978, to be specific, a program was started by the Government of India known as IRDP, Integrated Rural Development Program. And there was another program which was a part of IRDP. It was known as TRISEM. TRISEM is Training Rural Youth for Self-Employment. Now, what is IRDP? In the decade of 70s and 70s, 60s and 70s, poverty in India has increased too much. In order to provide employment and to lift people above poverty, if anyone is interested in starting his own employment, which is known as self-employment, if somebody wants to start something, suppose a villager wants to start a shop, from where he will get money, that is the problem. If he wants to start a repair shop, for example, if he wants to start a cycle puncture, cycle maintenance shop, he needs equipment, he needs pumps, he needs other things. For example, if he wants to buy a camel in order to carry goods and earn his livelihood, then if he wants to buy a buffalo or a cow in order to make his 2 ends meet, this is also a self-employment. He can tender or he can keep goats, that is, or poultry, that is chickens and all, honey making. There are so many things which can come under self-employment. Now what happened? A system was developed that the block of every area or every tehsil, they will identify those persons who are below poverty line or who are poor and who need finance or capital or money to start his own work, own business, own enterprise. They will be given a certain amount of money. Say, for example, if you want to buy a buffalo, and at that time in 1970s, the buffalo price was 10,000 rupees, then the government will provide through banks. NABARD will provide through banks. At 1978, there was no NABARD. So the money was provided by government. So you are provided 10,000 rupees to buy a buffalo, and there was an element of subsidy in that, and you have to return only 7,000 rupees. Now, if you can tend your buffalo, if you can keep it well, if you can maintain it well, then it was assumed by the government that you have a continuous income. It was an income generating program, and the person who has availed this benefit in the IRDP program was considered to have risen above the poverty line forever. So this IRDP program, it carried on in the 80s, in 90s, and what happened that in 1999, when NDA government came into power, when Atal Bihari Vajpayee was the Prime Minister of the country, the name of the IRDP program was changed to SGSY, Swर्ण Jayanti Swarojgar Yojana. So Swर्ण Jayanti Gramin Swarojgar Yojana, it was nothing but this IRDP program, and it is still going on, and cooperative banks and regional rural banks have been asked and have been refinanced by the NABARD to see that people are benefited under SGSY programs. Now, there are different approaches of SGSY. For example, one farmer will get a small amount of loan, for example, 10,000. If there is a group of farmers, for example, if there are 20 farmers, what they can do, they can join together. This is known as cluster approach, and they can get, say, if they want to buy a tractor in order to earn their livelihood, then this group can together collectively get a huge amount of money and they can buy a tractor, or they can get more money for any project which requires more capital. So this is the function of NABARD these days, after that they refinance the institutions for Swarn Jayanti Swarozgar Yojana. Then in 1993, another function, another objective was given to NABARD, that is a cooperative development fund was established in order to revive the cooperative sector. NABARD tried, but it did not succeed to that extent which it was expected to. So there is a cooperative development fund. This cooperative development fund provides finance for projects in villages, for construction, for other development projects. So some new things are going on. Then the last function of NABARD is supervision. The huge amount of money, for example, in 2020-21, in the latest budget which our finance minister presented in the parliament, it is said that 13 lakh crores of money will be provided for agriculture and rural development in this year, financial year. Now 13 lakh crores is too much money. So one of the function of NABARD is to supervise how this money is being used, whether it is used for productive purposes or it is being wasted, or there are leakages in the fund. There are certain people who are diverting this fund for some other purposes. So it is the function of NABARD to supervise this. So that we can say that there are three main functions of NABARD. Number one, and the most important function, is refinancing. Three major functions of NABARD. I talked about 7-8 functions, but you can categorize them into three. That is, one is refinancing. Now NABARD, it provides finance to the cooperative sector. That is state cooperative banks, district central cooperative banks, and to some extent even to primary agricultural credit societies also. Then the NABARD provides finance to the commercial banks, so that the commercial banks can lend money to the farmers and for rural development. The NABARD provides money to the regional rural banks also. And I told you that the NABARD provides money to the self-help group also. That is, there is a linkage between self-help group and bank. So this is the first, refinancing is the first main function or major function of NABARD. If there is no finance, if this function is not performed by NABARD, if there is no money to lend to the institution, then other functions doesn't count. So the first and most important is refinancing. One has to provide money to these institutions. The second function of NABARD is institutional development. Now NABARD has also been given the task to develop certain institutions in the rural areas. I told you, institutions for marketing, institutions for keeping, for example, NABARD can build a cold storage so that the agriculture produce does not rot easily. They build roads, they build somewhere, they can provide solar pumps. There are so many things for institutional building development. The NABARD is doing it. For example, if the village decides to build certain, for example, a school, if the building of the school is not up to mark, NABARD can provide finance for school building, road building, and for many other purposes. So the second function of NABARD is institutional development. And the third function of NABARD is inspection of client banks. Inspection of client banks. Client means, all those banks, all those institutions which receive money through refinance from NABARD, they are to be monitored and inspected by NABARD to see whether the funds which they have taken or which have been provided is used for the purpose for which it was provided. So, inspection of client bank is also an important function of NABARD. Now, several studies have been conducted to see whether NABARD is doing its work sincerely, honestly, and purposefully. So what the functioning of NABARD was evaluated through studies, and Agricultural Credit Review Committee, they did an evaluation study. Agricultural Credit Review Committee is set up by the Reserve Bank of India from time to time, which looks into the rural credit, whether enough rural credit is being provided, whether that is being utilized purposely or not for productive purposes. So Agricultural Credit Review Committee, in one of its evaluation study, they said that more attention and focus is on refinancing. More attention and resources have been utilized or focused on refinancing only. Rather, the inspection aspect, the monitoring aspect has very poor performance by NABARD. And the reason which it gives, the Agricultural Credit Review Committee gives, is that the workers, the officers, the functionaries of NABARD, most of them are, 99% of them are stationed in cities and urban areas, whereas all the functions of NABARD, all the money which is provided by NABARD is for rural and agricultural areas and at grassroots level. So when the officers and the functionaries and the workers of NABARD are stationed in urban areas, how can they monitor the performance of the credit provided by them in rural areas? So they have suggested that NABARD should permanently station the officers in the rural area. But we all are aware that most of the government institutions which are running in the rural areas are run from the urban centers. Now, almost all the villages in the country, if you take the case of Uttar Pradesh, almost all the schools, all the villages have schools, and almost all the teachers which are employed there, they are getting a very good salary. A primary school teacher is getting a salary of around 60 to 70,000 per month. But 99.9% of the teachers, they stay in urban areas. Most of them commute to the villages, and in the process they spend 4 to 5 hours every day traveling. So how much they are going to teach the students? And majority of them, they don't go to the school. They pay a bribe of 5 to 10,000 to the education officers, and the school is functioning without teachers. I have an experience that there are good schools which are supposed to be, by the administration says that these are good schools in their district. And if you visit them for inspection, you will find that for 4 days, 5 days, the students come, but there is no teacher. So similar is the case with NABARD, that NABARD, the function of financing, refinancing, providing credit is given priority. They are doing well in providing credit, but in monitoring, in inspection, it is a complete failure. So NABARD has to improve its functioning, and then only the amount of rural credit which is provided by the government through NABARD and through different lending agencies, governmental institutions, can be productive. Unless and until you keep an eye, if you do not monitor it seriously, the money which has been lent, which have been advanced, will be unproductive in the long run. So I think this is more than enough for NABARD. Tomorrow, as I said, I will try to give you a PowerPoint presentation, a brief. Whatever I have said, it will be written there and nothing else. And I will start the last topic of this unit, that is rural unemployment, tomorrow. So if you have anything, if you want to ask anything, we have got 5-10 minutes. You can ask. Anyone, any problem? So there is no problem. Can you hear me?
Sir, if microfinance scheme is totally success in India,
What microfinance scheme is totally successful in India?
yes, sir.
Okay. May I know who is asking?
Sir, Harshita Pandey.
Okay, you are using somebody else's email, huh?
Sir,
No,
Papa.
no problem, no problem. I was just confused. You see, around 8 or 9 years back, there was a big, very big malfunctioning of microfinance in southern India, in many states. Wherever money is involved, we all know in any country and especially in India, where huge amount of money is involved, certain malfunctioning or fraud is committed. So in this microfinance field also, thousands and thousands of crores of monies was swindled, was taken away by people. They took money, for example, these NGOs, certain important NGOs, that is non-governmental organizations, are run by wives and daughters and son and brother of high government officials or ministers. They easily get money in the name of microfinance, for example, to help the self-help group for women empowerment. Suppose they get 100 crores to lend money, help them in 50 villages. After 5 years or 3 years, one will come to know that nobody has got any help and all the money has been taken away and their NGO has been dissolved. Now you find them and persecute them or do anything. So this fraud has stopped the advance of microfinance expansion or growth of microfinance in India, but still in several states, even in southern states, microfinance is running. So let us forget about few cases. Micro level, we should see at the macro level, at the country level. So microfinance is still a very important institution or arrangement for empowerment of women, for development of rural development, for starting self-employment programs. So this is what you can say about microfinance. But here, okay. Anyone else?
Yes, sir. Sir, is there any difference between refinancing and financing?
Is there any
differences between refinancing and financing?
Yes, I have already told this at least several times in the class. For example, for your studies, from where you are getting support, financial support?
Sir, from parents.
From parents. This is direct finance from your parents to you. If, for example, your father does not trust you, you carry a bad reputation, you spend money, you throw away your money on certain things which he does not approve or like. So he may make arrangement. He may give the money to someone who is known to him, who is close to him, whom he trusts. And that person will give you money whenever you need it. You will approach him, that person whom your father has deputized, and you can get money from that. So the second thing is refinancing. Your father is giving the money, but he is not giving you the money or finance directly, but through a medium. For example, if you are in school, you must have got certain fellowship, Chhatravritti or something like that. You don't get it directly from the government. The government gives it to the schools. Through education department, the school provide you that Chhatravritti. This is refinancing. If the school provided you financial help directly from its own fund, it would have been financing. So refinance is through a certain medium. NABARD does not lend money directly to the farmers, but NABARD lends money to the cooperative sector, to the commercial banks, to the regional rural banks, and they lend money to the farmers. So NABARD is in fact refinancing. Commercial banks are financing. Got the point?
So why does it not give you direct?
You see, to directly give finance, you have to have a very massive infrastructure. NABARD is a small organization. To give direct fund to the farmers, NABARD has to have its own branches everywhere in the country and employ lakhs and lakhs of people in order to give credit. When there is already a government organization, the banks, the regional rural banks, they have an infrastructure, they are catering to the villages. Why not utilize that infrastructure? So NABARD finance the institutions and they finance the farmers in order to cut costs.
Okay, sir. Sir, as you told that NABARD, a certain criteria, it was unable to achieve its goal. Then after that, there was a few bank was stabilized to achieve that goals. Sir, is it necessary or is it beneficial for country to set up more and more banks or institutions when we have such type of banks already?
If you have not spoken about NABARD, then I would have given you a different answer. You see, NABARD is into rural credit and agricultural credit.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So no other institution have been set up for that. Now the second question, second part which you say, why more and more banks are being established. You see, banks are established for earning profit. And no new bank, government bank, has been established in the last 20-25 years. In fact, all the government banks, commercial banks, they are being privatized, they are being closed, they are being sold. So much so that in rural areas, the branches of government bank, commercial banks have declined very fast. Today, there are only around 46,000 rural branches of commercial banks in the country, which was around 80-90,000 at one time. So the government is withdrawing the banks from the government sector in order to sell it to the private sector, because the government thinks that the government banks are not functioning properly and they profitability is very low. Government banks have never been set up to earn profit. Government banks have always been set up, their sole objective was to serve the people of the country, whether rich or poor, or living in any corner of the country. But now the objective has changed. Now, private bank, the moment a government bank is privatized, they will close all the branches in the rural areas and will confine themselves to the urban areas in order to earn profit. So this is a question which is debatable. Anyone can have a different position, but the question is whether what economic system the country is adopted, whether you believe in social justice, whether you believe in upliftment of all the people in the country, whether you believe that the poor people in our country are our own people, our own brothers, they need help. If you believe in that, then the government should do whatever it can to help the people. And if you believe in the objective that profit is the sole motive of any economic activity, then privatize everything. Tomorrow, if education is privatized, take it from me, you cannot get a degree from Allahabad University, because for getting a degree of bachelor degree of BA degree in Allahabad University, you need to pay 10 to 15 lakhs. Only a fool will pay 10 to 15 lakhs to get a BA degree from Allahabad University. So this is the advantage of privatization, that you have to pay more money. But if it is a government institution, you can get that degree with a very small amount of money. You can get many of the facilities free of cost. The hostel charges are very low. There are massive good libraries which you can avail if there have been normal times. So these are the things. The question which you asked, you were not very much clear, but I thought that you were asking about privatization of banks or opening. New private banks are opening. Foreign banks are coming in the country.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so we are going to meet tomorrow. Huh?
Okay.
Thanks, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.